What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet, and I'm here to ask and answer a question. Are gamers resistant to change? Now, recently, the COO of EA was quoted as saying, "I think the challenge sometimes is that the growth of gaming, there's a core that doesn't quite feel comfortable with that. Your readers, the industry in particular, I don't get frustrated, but I scratch my head at times and say, look, these are different times. There is a core," a controversial statement coming from me, sadly, "that just doesn't like that, because it's different, it's disruptive, it's not the way it used to be." Now, basically what Peter Moore is trying to say here is that we gamers do not embrace the business models that EA is using because we are resistant to change. I think he believes that we're a curmudgeonly lot, that we don't really like any type of change, and that we are resistant of just about any type of change, whether we perceive it to be good or bad, that all change is bad. Now, there's some definite evidence towards this. All you have to do is pick your favorite game and look at the comments in response to the patch notes for the majority of those games. Anytime there's a change, even if that change turns out to be for the better, it doesn't matter if it's a balance change or an economy change, doesn't matter. People freak the fuck out. And certainly in the years that I've been gaming, we have seen some drastic changes to the entire business, and these business model changes have been met with quite a lot of resistance. But you know, the reality of it is, it kind of makes sense that gamers would be resistant to this type of change, because this type of change costs us more money for the same amount of entertainment to enjoy the hobby that we love. At the end of the day, a lot of these changes are anti-consumeristic. But first, allow me to dismiss the fact that we are resistant to all change, because a lot of change is really, really good, and we love it. Free games from PlayStation Plus, or games with gold, or even your very own Origins on the House program. That's change, and we like it. When World of Warcraft and EverQuest came along and there was these online persistent worlds that you had to pay a monthly fee to access, nobody really wanted to spend all that extra money, but the trade-off was worth it. That was change, and we liked it. When the free-to-play business model came along and non-exploitive games like Tribes and League of Legends and Dota 2 came along and they embraced that model, we embraced it too. That is change, and we liked it. Now, it's true in all those cases, and in almost every case, there are a few holdouts who don't like it, who are going to rebel, who are going to be frustrated, but for the most part, as we ease into this brave new world, as long as everybody treats the consumer like they're worth something and treats them with kindness, we can embrace those models, at least when they're fair. The problem is that players are particularly resistant to change that is unfair. And if you look at the way EA does this, often their practices are very unfair. For example, the exploitive costs that it would take to play the beloved Dungeon Keeper franchise on the iPad. And this, Mr. Moore, is the problem. Whenever you embrace these new business models, often you do it wrong. When you do microtransactions, we end up with Dungeon Keeper. When you do DLC, we end up with Battlefield 4 Premium, when Battlefield barely works. Whenever you do Always Online, we end up with SimCity, which is unplayable for the first month that it was live. The reality of it is this. Gaming is changing. It is a brave new world, it is the Wild West, and brand new business models are going to crop up. And yes, some of us are curmudgeons, and some of us are going to be resistant to just about any type of change. But you have to be smart enough to realize that we are going to be particularly resistant to the type of change that costs us more money, that digs in our pockets, that gives us less game for more money, and ultimately is unfair to the consumer. So I'm here to ask EA and Ubisoft and Microsoft and Sony and everybody who's making games today to realize that we are fully aware of this brave new world, and we are fully willing to embrace it as long as you treat us kindly and fairly and make sure you keep our best interests at heart. Now, Peter Moore also had this to say. "We as an industry have to embrace change," he explained. "We can't be music. We cannot be music. Because music said, screw you. You're going to buy a CD for $16.99. We're going to put 14 songs on there, 2 of which you care about, but you're going to buy our CD." Then Sean Fanning writes a line of code or two, Napster happens, and the consumers take control. The consumers take control? Is that what you're afraid of? Because the consumers already have control. We always have control. I always get to decide which games I pay for and which games I don't. I always am in control. And if you're so afraid of ending up like music, then you shouldn't be doing some of the things you're doing. Telling me that I have to play online when I don't want to. Telling me that I have to get the premium service if I want to play with my friends. Telling me that I have to get unfair microtransactions to continue to play the game. That's the equivalent of shoving 14 shitty songs on a $17 CD. That's what makes me stop buying. That's what makes me stop buying your games and choosing to buy a $10 indie game on Steam instead. What really happened to the music industry isn't Napster. It's the fact that they did not beat Napster to the punch by providing a good, high-quality, downloadable, or streaming music service in which they monetized. It all comes down to this, Mr. Moore. I like your company, I like the games that you publish, and I like you. But the reality of it is, we gamers can be resistant to change, specifically this type of anti-consumer change. We're never going to go along with it. And that is something that will cause the gaming industry to become the music industry. You have to meet us somewhere in the middle between consumer demand and profitability. Profits be damned. Oh, shit. Oops. All right, well, that's my little rant for the day. I've been building towards that for a little while. I want you guys to do me a favor. If you enjoyed this, could you hit subscribe down below? Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy it. I'm going to list some other stuff in the comment box below, social media, and some other videos you might like. I'd love it if you check that stuff out. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll speak with you soon.